Welcome to the final part of Chapter 4, Developing Countries and Their Problems. Now, this first slide is about an assignment. I will talk about this in class, so I will skip this for now. Okay. And here we start with the different states of underdevelopment. So, according to the state in which a country finds itself in regarding development, we will give these countries a name. And the very first one is the New Industrializing Countries, NIC. So these are like almost considered to be like developed. They're on their way to become a developed country. So they made recent improvements, and these could include the government became more stable, like corruption has been expelled. Um, they don't change all the time, so politically everything is at rest. There is democracy going on. We have less corruption once again, and the improvement quality of life is very important. So everyone has like access to perhaps electricity or clean water, um, perhaps even Wi-Fi, things like that, internet, um, or just being able to go out to the shop and buy goods and services without much of a problem, right? Examples over here are the countries colored in red. Um, China, Brazil, Turkey, and South Africa are considered to be new industrializing countries. So they're well on their way to achieve the status of being developed. It's maybe strange to see China in this list because you think China is already there, but as you can see, not yet. In your textbook, you will find more examples for the improvement quality of life. Things include transportation, electricity, better access to clean water. Most of these examples I've already given. Okay, then we have countries with a lot of resources, like raw materials. In this case, we have the main example called the OPEC countries. This is the organization of the countries that have raw oil in their soil. So these are among the richest in the world. Think about Dubai, um, the Emirates, countries like that. The problem over there is that you have a massive income inequality. So the rich they often control these oil drilling companies, and they will be very rich. But then you have like the rest of the population, and they are very poor. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Oman are the main examples over here. Okay, so this could also be the case. Then you have countries at an intermediate stage. They are richest or richer than the poorest countries, but still more poor than the richest countries, right? See, there's somewhere in between. That's why they are called intermediate. Their export heavily depends on the export of minerals and agricultural products. Think about perhaps cacao beans, minerals like things you find in the ground, diamonds, perhaps gold, maybe copper, iron. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I think you get the picture. Here we have some examples: gold, coal, limestone, iron ore, lead, zinc. So some examples over there. They heavily depend on the export of those goods. Examples over here are Peru, Morocco, and Egypt. Then we have the least developed countries, LDCs. So they actually have the lowest indicators of socio-economic development. So it's very bad over there. They have low HDI ratings, the Human Development Index, which means that things like transport, education, healthcare are almost non-existent over there. So they get only by thanks to the international help. They rely on international help, and if they are exporting goods, it's only like one thing or two products. It's not much. Examples over here are the countries colored in blue. As you can see, Africa is actually, well, almost fully colored in blue. I have no idea why some of them are green. I have no idea. Let's just ignore that for now. But well, if you look at the color, I think it's like Congo, Afghanistan as well, Somalia here. Um, we have some examples. Bangladesh, I think too. It's also in the textbook if I'm not mistaken. Then we have the GDP is not nearly enough. Last year we saw something about the GDP and we said that this indicator was the most widely used one regarding measuring economic wealth, but we already knew that it has some problems, right? So some countries are very rich, but they are still crippled by poverty and higher unemployment. So the GDP is not enough. That's why the title is how it is. So stuff like life expectancy, education, the number of citizens per doctor, level of analphabetism, I hope I pronunciated that right, and energy expenditure, these are all indicators that are not included in the GDP. So these are actually included in the Human Development Index. That's why you always have to compare using GDP and the HDI to get a better view of a country. Okay, then we have this thing over here. Compare the top 10 countries with the highest GDP with the highest HDI ranking countries. What do you conclude? This is an assignment, of course, you can do this on your own. Then we have characteristics of developing countries. A very important one is that they have a strong increase in population. If you look at countries like Africa or India, you know that these people have very large families. Well, in China, this is going down or have been going down for quite some time now because of the one-child policy. But then, like Africa, you see a lot of big families. A very young population means that people are having children very fast, but people are not really getting older, right? So they die at younger ages. A lack of education speaks for itself. Here we have a classroom in Africa. I think you all realize that the difference between our setup in class and this one is massive. So sometimes we complain if the beamer is not working or if it's like a bit cold in the room. As you can see, these guys they barely have anything, and we're not even talking about the quality of the education they are getting. Okay, then we have economic factors as well. Low income per capita means that people are just earning lower income. It's that easy. We also have the unfair income distribution. If you have a very high degree of income inequality, that's a bad sign. Lack of employment opportunities. It's very difficult to find a very good job. Most people just work in the agricultural sector. Urbanization. That's that's not that important. Then we have the highly dependent on the agricultural sector. We know that, and no investments or savings. If people have money, if they have a job, they're not saving any of it. So in most cases. So once again, the same thing over here. How will this affect the economy? This is an assignment. Think about this. If people are not able to save and not able to invest, think about the local businesses. Think about households growing their wealth. Oh, here apparently we have the answer. Sorry for that. You can read it. Now, some people create models in order to help developing countries. They wrote like this guidebook about how can you improve. And as you can see, the growth model was strategy number one, but it's already outdated. But it's important to see how people were thinking about this back in the day. So in this case, um, the solution, the so-called solution, was to focus on industrialization with a focus on export. So create companies, ramp up production levels, make sure you make something which you can export so you can join the international trade. This draws in multinationals, so perhaps big companies come to your country right now and they start increasing the production, which will put your country on the map and allows trade. So here we have it. They will have like this function and they will carry you towards the international trade. This paves the way to technological advancement because they come in, they bring all this knowledge with them, and they might this might increase the quality of um, your workforce. There is a word missing over here. It should be the downsides. The very first thing is the people left on the countryside. They live too far away from the bigger cities and they're not able to join in on this movement. It's also almost always the case that the multinationals are way too powerful, way too advanced, and the local businesses cannot compete with these multinationals. So once a multinational goes away, well, they have nothing anymore because they also grow too dependent on these multinationals. Here we have it. Very important. This is the current method, so the better one of the two, the basic needs model. We will have a focus on increasing export once again, but now we will try to take everyone into account. So not only the city people, but the people living on the countryside. Investments should increase employment for everyone. So that's the target, not only the city people, but for everyone. Government departments, they need to be improved so everyone can benefit from it. Often in these countries, you have a lot of corruption, um, a lot of power movements, like someone comes to power and stays like in that position for decades. That happened already. Um, Sometimes they just switch leaders all the time. Then there is no stability. So this thing over here starts with the government. They could actually, if they're like good, they can start focusing on education, healthcare, public transport. Um, like Belgium also tries to help. And one of these things we have over here is a Rode Kruis, of course, but we have two categories. First, we have the official ones, like the United Nations. It's like this cooperation of like a lot of countries, right? And they come together, they bring money together in order to help countries that need help, right? Um, Apparently, 0.7% of the GDP goes to official help. I think this is for every member of the United Nations in order to help developing countries. We also have the unofficial routes. These are the non-governmental organizations, the NGOs, universities, and other specialized organizations. And het Rode Kruis is an example of an unofficial one. Here we have them, Broederlijk Delen, Vredeseilanden, very well known examples from here in Belgium. Okay, that's it. That was the final slide. I have no idea why this slide comes back, but that's it. I hope you understand the concepts of the balance of payments. I think I did like 2 videos right now on this part, but the second video was, I think, a bit easier, right? Or was it more difficult? I have no idea. Or no, this is maybe already the third video, right? On this part of the chapter. Then the second video was probably the difficult one, right? The first and the third one, easy. Okay, if you have any remaining questions, please send me a mail, send me a message on Discord, or ask me in class. Okay, I will see you then. Bye.